Hey everybody, I'm Christopher Green. You're tuning into AMTV Alternative Media Television. Please click the link below right now to support our sponsor, EarthCom. Find out exactly how to protect yourself from electromagnetic radiation, the ultimate in EMF protection. Hey everybody, I'm Christopher Green. You're tuning into AMTV Alternative Media Television. It is, of course, Tuesday, March 11th, 2014, and breaking news surrounding the vanishing, missing airplane, the Malaysian flight that took off in Kuala Lumpur to Beijing and then vanishes without a trace. According to the mainstream media that have gotten this story completely wrong from the get-go, saying they had identified oil slicks in the water linked to the plane, that proved to be false, that they had also identified objects from a potentially exploded or downed or crashed plane. That was and turned out to be false. Now say that the jet turned off course, according to the Malaysian Air Force, which is totally inexplicable. Makes zero sense. It's as if the plane vanished out of thin air. Now, if the plane had actually changed course and headed hundreds and hundreds of miles west when it was supposed to be going northeast, that would mean that radar would have detected the plane, which, by the way, they say was flying at a lower altitude while it was heading west to the Strait of Malacca. That would all be detectable by radar. This is what the Malaysian Air Force and military is reporting. Now, again, this makes zero sense because it's as if the plane just vanishes completely. The fact that we now know that the plane was headed west, according to reports and according to the Malaysian military, this would mean that the possibility of catastrophic failure, of an explosion, or let's say a missile attack, or some kind of catastrophic event, the likelihood of that decreases exponentially. Because if the plane was moving west, flying at lower altitude for hundreds and hundreds of miles before its flight path ended, there would have been some kind of distress signal sent out by the plane. Not to mention that the plane has all kinds of black box and radar technology that somehow doesn't work in finding where this plane is. And don't we find that interesting? Don't you find that strange that we live in a global government system that can literally track all of your text messages, record all of your telephone conversations, literally record video from your cell phone within your own house, take pictures and snapshots from your webcam? I mean, the most Orwellian surveillance spy grid in the history of the world, yet can't find a single downed plane. Allegedly down plane, and it just disappears from radar completely. I would agree with this headline here. It's inexplicable. It's almost like aliens came down and gobbled up the plane into non-existence. You can read this report and more information as well as a map. You can see here that the plane was on course from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing, and all of a sudden stops transmitting radar signal, and instead of continuing its course heading northeast to Beijing, where over 10 countries and thousands of satellites that just can't find the plane, decides to turn this way, loses all radar contact, which makes no sense at all, no distress signal, no radar identification outside of what we're getting from the Malaysian military, saying that the plane somehow disappeared in the Strait of Malacca, which was its last communication. Now, this also makes zero sense because we've also had reports reported by the mainstream media and others that people had heard a downed jet engine, very loud, sharp noises of a plane on the east, not the west. Diametrically opposing these new reports. And of course, the mainstream media, and maybe they're just completely a part of this cover-up from the get-go, has been completely wrong about identifying the existence of this plane and what has actually happened to it. Villagers from near Marang on Malaysia's eastern coast told police they had heard a large and frightening noise, like a jet engine, and had tried to investigate the noise, what appeared to be a downed jet, but couldn't find anything unusual. So again, this is diametrically opposed to what villagers from near Marang have indicated about hearing very high-pitched, catastrophic jet engine sounds and noise on the east coast, on the eastern coast of Malaysia, diametrically opposed to what we're now getting from the Malaysian military. This is also corroborated by the Telegraph. Malaysia Airlines Live Military says last tracked plane hundreds of miles off course. Of course, we had these two Iranian nationals that had been using fake/illegal passports to what the investigators are telling us were just trying to seek asylum. In fact, there was a mysterious conversation between an Iranian businessman named Ali, who had allegedly bought the one-way tickets for these two gentlemen. Now authorities saying there's no leakage, even though there was a mysterious man buying tickets, paying only cash, one-way tickets, linking and smelling of propaganda-rich BS being spewed by the mainstream media to somehow pin China, an ally of Russia, by the way, don't forget what's going on in Ukraine, against another ally, Iran. All of this smells rotten. We're absolutely not getting the complete and total truth. And that's something I think that many of you tuning in are absolutely convinced of, as am I. We are not getting all the information here. Something drastic and something major is being covered up. Also corroborated by Reuters, Malaysia military tracked missing plane to west coast. So now they think the plane was moving west, not northeast. Again, completely vanishes like a ghost. Here we have another map of the search area showing where the last recorded position of the plane, where it was last located, and now where they think the plane somehow disappeared. Haven't found anything yet. And of course, the Strait of Malacca, this is another very interesting fact, is one of the busiest shipping straits in the area, if not in the world. So if there was any pieces of the plane, which should be scattered all around this area right now, it would be very easily detectable by the hundreds, if not thousands of ships that move through this strait on a daily, weekly, and annual basis. But again, the biggest mystery to this entire incident is the utter and what appears to be just unearthly disappearance of a vanished and vanishing airplane into thin air. Again, they can wiretap your phones, folks. They can take pictures from your smartphone, from your laptop camera, record all your conversations, identify you through facial recognition, develop nanotechnology. But with the thousands and thousands and thousands of spy satellites orbiting the planet, just can't find a plane. They just have no idea where it went. Over 10 countries, including the United States and others, and hundreds, if not thousands, of ships scouring the waters. And with all of this modern-day technology, expect you to believe it just disappeared. Yeah, we just don't know what happened. Again, we would have found pieces if it fell here in the Strait of Malacca, if the plane went down here, because there's more ships and business traffic roaming through here than pretty much anywhere in this area, if not in the world. But again, haven't found anything. They've found nothing. Meanwhile, China has deployed 10 additional satellites to help in the search for a Malaysia jet, as well as websites and satellite companies and technology asking people to crowdsource to look at imagery to potentially find the downed jet. Again, our governments, think about this, it makes no sense at all. Global governments can't find the downed jet. They want you to help. The greatest spy surveillance grid in the history of the world expects you to believe that this jet just vanished in thin air. Another report, vanished Malaysia Airlines flight leaves relatives with anger and phantom phone calls. A very interesting, strange anomaly. Maybe it's not an anomaly where relatives say they're making phone calls via cell phone. to their loved ones in the alleged downed plane. Many think that the people have unfortunately tragically passed away, but that their phones are ringing and will ring out until they hit voicemail, until nobody answers. Instead of just going straight to voicemail, all these families are strangely, and maybe it's an anomaly, maybe it's not, calling their loved ones. The phone call's not being picked up, but ringing. Why couldn't they just triangulate the cell phone call to where the cell phone is ringing? I mean, I thought, again, this is the greatest surveillance spy grid that global governments have ever had. Why couldn't they just simply triangulate a phone call? I mean, these people here are calling their loved ones, but the government expects you to believe that they just have no idea where this vanished plane went. It just vanished like a ghost. Maybe a UFO or an alien just ate it. Now, of course, there has also been a lot of reports, and thank God for the alternative media reporting that in addition to the Iranian, the two gentlemen being investigated for stolen passports that the authorities say now are probably not linked to terrorism, but were just seeking asylum, even though they had strange conversations with Iranian businessmen who only paid cash and bought one-way tickets, name Ali. They expect us to write that off now, even though they were tying it into Iran before, and there's incredible motive and propaganda to do that. In addition to those two illegal passports, they're also investigating more than two. And also, the alternative media has been, really, in my opinion, the first to notate and report that there were also 20 high-tech EW defense passengers on board. It says here 4 people in particular who boarded the missing Malaysian plane are being investigated, 2 for stolen passports and 2 other passport-related suspects. Those 4 suspects plus 20 people on board involved in cutting-edge electric technology, some used for the DoD, Department of defense purposes, raise a question about electronic weaponry hiding the plane. Again, things that you've probably read about that the federal government, the Department of Defense already has, the technology for invisibility cloaks. It's basically electronic countermeasure strategies and warfare that can make planes just disappear right out of thin air. In fact, soldiers can wear the material, tanks can have the material, planes can have the material, so that they go largely undetected by radar. And what's extremely interesting about this is that in addition to stolen passports and the linkage, or the alleged linkage with Iran and Iranian terrorism, we also have 20 people on board, which seems to be a lot more significant, involved in this cutting-edge electric technology and these electronic countermeasure strategies that can create invisible cloaks and play with radar and basically create an invisibility unlike the military has been familiar with in past years. All of this now very, very real technology. Again, they can't find the plane, folks. They expect you to just write this off as some kind of anomaly. It just vanished over here. If we take a look at this map, it just somehow vanished over here, northeast of Kuala Lumpur, and then went undetected by radar over here until the Malaysian military said it was its last known location, and then just disappeared again. So it really just disappeared twice. And again, no distress signals, no distressed text messages or emails sent from passengers from what I'm assuming to be hundreds and hundreds of cell phones. Some of these planes, by which are equipped with internet technology. Some of you have probably been on those planes where you can communicate via the internet on board the plane. No distress signals there, no distress signal from the captain, no distress signal or radar of anything or anybody. Just disappears into a Bermuda Triangle style Houdini disappearance act that you as the mainstream masses, CNN wants you to just swallow down the propaganda and somehow think that the media and global governments just have no clue, no idea where the plane went. I think there's a massive cover-up here. I know, as well as the thousands, if not millions of you tuning in, no, we're not getting all the information with this plane. Again, the invisible cloak technology, very real. And again, these 20 individuals working for a highly secretive company creating technology for the DoD and the Department of Defense can make drones invisible, can make airplanes undetectable to radar, tanks invisible on the ground, military personnel can use this technology as well. There's an article here from the Daily Beast describing Israel's secret plan to attack Iran and how they would use electronic warfare in this technology in an event like this. Israel has been building stealthily multi-billion-dollar electronic weapons that could be deployed if Israel attacks Iran's nuclear sites, U.S. intelligence officials tell the Daily Beast. And it goes on and on to talk about the specifics of this technology and what is known as electronic warfare. We are clearly not getting the truth. There are facts clearly not being disclosed to the American public, the people of the world, the victims and members, the family members that are crying to try to find where lost loved ones are that are making phone calls to their cell phones that keep ringing. This is a massive conspiracy and one of the greatest disappearing acts we have ever seen, ever. Probably making people like Houdini impressed with how a jumbo jet can just totally disappear by the blink of an eye. Get this video out everywhere. Make it viral. I'm Christopher Green. Hard-hitting in your face. Again, the latest reports say that the plane diverted strangely after disappearing hundreds and hundreds of miles west into the Strait of Malacca, one of the busiest business seaports in the world, and still no jet found. Are we expected to believe that that's the truth, that they can't find this aircraft and that it's just disappeared and vanished without a trace? Time will tell, and we'll certainly be updating you with more details to the story as they persist. Get it out, make it viral.